my loves, what's up and welcome back to the Trend Diaries. I'm Nidhi and in today's video we are going to be doing another one brand makeup tutorial, and this time it was as per your request. I'm going to be doing I'm going to be doing Wet n Wild makeup tutorial. Now this does not belong to Wet n Wild anyways. I'm going to be doing a Wet n Wild one brand makeup tutorial for today's video. I hope you guys really enjoy, but first just let me apply some lipstick onto my lips because I look dead without anything. And so if you want to know how this look would turn out with me, then please continue watching and don't forget to subscribe before leaving. Also, there's a giveaway going on my channel. I would leave the link in the description box so that you can participate. And yes, with that being said, let's begin. So first I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Primer Water Spray. I'll be using it as to prep my skin because it is feeling extremely, my skin is feeling extremely dry and sweaty because of the summer, so we need this to just prep the skin a bit more. Then for my primer, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Dewy Face Primer. Applying it to the centers of the face first, massaging it all over the face to give it that glow. So for my brows, I'm having the Wet n Wild retractable brow pencil. And that's the last bit of it left. I've completely used it up. Let's see if that is enough or not. Hello, this is Nidhi from the future, and since my camera stopped recording, we will continue with the voiceover. So I cleaned up my filled in brows with the help of the concealer in the shade medium tawny, and I'm using a straight cut flat brush for this and cleaning the edges of the brow and especially under my brow to cover the hair which is just growing out, as I did not thread them. But yeah, I use the same concealer all over my eyelids as well for my eyeshadow base and buffed it in with the help of a concealer buffing brush. All of my brushes are from Jessup Cosmetics, and I have detailed video of my brushes on my channel. You can check the playlist section. For my eyeshadow palette, I'm using the Rosé in the Air eyeshadow palette and picking up the brown eyeshadow first on a tapered kind of a pencil blending brush and applied it right on my crease. Like, I do not have a particular crease as I do have hooded eyes, but slightly above it. And then once I'm done with that, using the caramel shade on a bigger fluffier brush, I blended the edges of the darker brown with the caramel shade. So here I've kept the clips in real-time blending so that you can see actually what am I doing. So just going in back and forth with the dark brown and the light brown transition shades and pressing and packing, then blending. So as you can see, what is important is how you hold your brushes. Nobody tells you that, but if you see carefully, when I'm packing the shades, I am holding the brush near to the ferrule while I am blending it. I am holding the brush a little farther away than that. So you have to go back and forth with the darker brown and the lighter brown transition shades to get that perfect blend. So use small circular blending strokes and use different brushes. If you use the same brush, you're gonna end up looking a mess, so don't do that. And then taking a clean, extremely fluffier blending brush than the previous two brushes and just swiping it all over the previous two shades to merge them all in. So as you can see over here, I placed the dark brown first and then use the caramel shade 50-50 on the previous dark brown and 50% on my base and then blending it in. Once I'm done with packing, I am re-going with the darker brown, lighter brown, and then holding the brush a little more farther away while I'm blending it. So you need to keep that in mind. So basically I just went for a brown, a smoky eye on my lids, and later I would add color to my bottom. So yeah, that's the last part where I used a clean blending brush. Once I'm done with that, for my foundation I used the shade Desert Beige. Now this is like one-ish shade lighter to my skin tone, and the undertone basically is a little bit neutral for my skin tone. I am the shade Caramel, which is my perfect match, but due to quarantine I could not order it. They have launched the shade Caramel recently in India. Anyways, I will get it later someday, but right now I'm having the shade Desert Beige, so I just stamped it all over my face using a beauty blender, and this is a local beauty blender, guys, so please don't ask me which beauty blender is this, but I really love it. And then using the photofocus concealer, firstly I used the shade Medium Deep Tan, I guess, yeah, under my eyes to cover up dark circles, right on the bridge of my nose, forehead, cupid's bow, chin, and then slightly using the same concealer as my nose highlight too, and with the shade Medium Tawny, slightly highlighting the centers of my plane and right in the inner corners of my eye. Then blending the concealer out with the same beauty blender, but first going and blending the vertical plane of my face first, so that the under eye concealer gets a little time to settle, and in this way the coverage of the concealer will be enhanced. So I just blended the concealer all out. Yeah, so you would feel I'm going ham with the concealer, but as we're having a brown smoky look going on, we need to completely conceal the under eyes. So once that is done, moving into the bronzer section, I used the Coloricon bronzer, and this is in the shade You're Dragging Me Down, a gel based bronzer, and stamped it in the hollows of my cheekbone. Now as the foundation was a matte foundation, so I can directly go in over with the powder products instead of setting it. So I would set the concealer zones later, but the perimeters of my face were all matte, so I went in with the bronzer. Now this shade is like just a shade deeper to my skin tone, so works as a contour for me and not a typical bronzer. So I just went in to slightly contour a bit, and then I also contoured my nose. I was like just feeling it, so I used the same contour shade on a smaller blending brush, and you know, just contoured the sides of my nose bridge, right under the tip of my nose, the edges. And after I'm done with that, also slightly use the same bronzer under my lower lip, and without any excess product, whatever was left on the brush, hit it on the tops of my lip as well. Now once I'm done with that, moving in, I set the under eye concealer with the banana powder shade that I have from the contouring palette, and placed it right on the areas where I've applied the concealers, and nothing more, because already everything is very matte and we need not be a dry mess. And then for bronzing, using the contouring shade from the Caramel Toffee palette, and used it on an angled brush. Look at the way I'm holding my brush, guys. So you have to hold your brushes really farther away if you want that smooth blend on your face. The more closer you hold your brush to the ferrule, the more pressure will be applied, and more patchy and streaky your products will get applied. So you need to observe how people or artists, you know, hold their brushes. Even that is important. I also hit the same bronzer right around my neck, because we did apply foundation over there. And then for my blush, I'm using the shade Mellow Wine, absolute favorite, on the apples of my cheekbone and slightly upwards towards my temple to lift up my facial features. In this way, you are just pulling your features upwards, and that gives you a nice lifted contoured look. So definitely the application of blusher is important. And then to complete the eye look, I used that beautiful pink color on a bullet blending brush, and placed it right under my lower lash line, and then slightly smudging it with the same brush. And for that I use the brush horizontally, so while applying it I'm using the tip, and then to blend it I just used it horizontally, okay. And then with a tapered blending brush, this is Sigma E36, and use the lavenderish transition shade to blend the previous pink. And then with the blending brush, the bigger one, I just merged the pink edge and the brown, flicking it outwards towards the temple to give it that smoked out winged look. In my waterline, I used this nude kohl, which is calling your buff, I guess, from WetNWild. And then I used the same pink shade again on a smaller packing brush right under the kohl because it looked kind of faded. To set my eyebrows, I used the WetNWild clear mascara, and I am like okay-ish about this product. I do not really love it as such anyways. And then I used a mixture of the champagne shade and the pink shade and used it as my inner corner highlight, and only the champagne shade as my brow bone highlight. So yeah, once that is done, after that I added some mascara to my bottom as well as upper lashes. Now I do not have any mascara from WetNWild, so I used my Maybelline mascara. Then for my lipstick today, I'm having some liquid catsuit lipsticks from WetNWild. From that, firstly I used the chestnut lip liner and aligned my lips. An absolute favorite of mine, definitely get this lip liner, very cheap too. And then firstly I applied the shade Give Me Mocha, which is a brown toned pink nude, and applied it all over my lips first as my base color. And then on top of it I added just 3 dots of the shade Nice to Fuschia and placed it only on my lower lip and mummed my lips. Then with the help of my finger, I just blotted the entire shade all over my lips. So that was the color done for my lips. And then set my face with the Natural Finish setting spray. I used the Precious Petal highlighter on the tops of my cheekbone, the bridge of my nose, a cupid's bow slightly on my chin and forehead in the later part, and also use the same highlighter as my inner corner and brow bone highlighter as well, as they look kind of faded. And yeah, that's it, that's the finished look. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys really enjoyed watching this one brand makeup tutorial from WetNWild. If you did, then hit that like button and let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll meet you in my next one. Till then, take care, namaste, and keep trending.